Hey guys, how's it going? So it's my first video using this new system. I'm using my iPhone, so hopefully everything works out well. So for this 15 minutes or so, we're going to try to cover 11.1, which is mostly talking about something called the rectangular coordinate system. First thing we're going to do is not the most exciting problem. We're going to look at some information and try to predict some information or some answers from that information. So they're giving us information about days of the week and number of chocolate bars, right? So we're going to hopefully answer some questions about this information. So I'm going to be going back and forth. Follow along as we go. So refer to the table and graph. On what day of the week did they sell the most chocolate bars? So if we go, what day of the week did they sell the most chocolate bars? It looks like Sunday. So the answer to that would be Sunday. You could also look at the graph to see that the 7th day of the week had the highest number of chocolate bars. Easy peasy. How many chocolate bars did they sell on Friday? So again, we can do this a couple different ways. I'm going to look at the table. Looks like they sold 22 bars on Friday. And what day of the week corresponds to 19 chocolate bars? Looks like Wednesday was 19. So all they're wanting us to do here is to connect the information to be able to answer some graphs or some questions from the information. In just a couple minutes, we're actually going to graph this data, and then towards the end of this chapter or later in the chapter, we're going to be graphing lines. So that's kind of where we're headed. All right, let's look at another problem. So the first thing we're going to want to know is something called the rectangular coordinate system. So in mathematics, we plot points. When I say points, we're talking about X and Y coordinates on this thing called the rectangular coordinate system. It has a few parts that are really important. Number one, this horizontal line is going to be called the X axis, and this vertical line is going to be called the Y axis. So the horizontal line is the X axis, vertical line is the Y axis. The two axes actually chop the picture into four parts. So these are called quadrants. So we have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to be graphing points on this axis. And the points we're going to graph are always something called an ordered pair. An ordered pair is what we're going to graph. And these pairs are always going to be in the terms X, comma, Y. So the X is going to be the first part, and the Y is going to be the second part. The X is going to represent how far we go along the X axis or the horizontal axis. And the Y value is going to represent how far we go up and down, how far we go vertically along the Y axis. So we're always going to have two numbers. One's going to give us our X value, and one is going to give us our Y value. Let's actually graph a couple. So if we look at this coordinate system here, they're actually asking us to plot some points. So if I want to plot the point 3, 4, I'm going to go 3 units along the X, the positive X, and then I'm going to go 4 units up. So this point right here would be the point 3, 4. 3, 4. Negative 2, 3. So I'm going to go back 2 units along the negative x-axis. Negative 2 up 3. So that point will be negative 2, 3. Point C is going to be positive 2, negative 1. So it's going to be right there. Point D is going to be 0, 3. So that means I go 0 along the X and I go 3 up. So 0, 3. Notice it's actually on the Y axis. And point E is a little bit funny because we're going to have to guesstimate. So I'm going to guesstimate negative 3.1, negative 4.7. Again, those are just estimations. There's where that point would look like. So the first thing you need to be able to do as a math student is be able to graph points on a coordinate system. That's our first goal. Now this next problem I noticed was not printed correctly, so I actually took the graph and put it back on the XY axis so that we could figure out these points better. So we should also be able to take a point and say what the coordinates are. And again, I had to fill in these numbers here because you couldn't really see it that well. So it looks like point A. So if I wanted to label point A, I would say that this is negative 40, 60. So point A is negative 40, 60. Again, remember you do the X and then the Y part. Let's do one more. Point C would be positive 40, negative 60. Positive 40, negative 60. So not only are they going to want you to graph points, they're going to want you to be able to take points and talk about what their coordinates are. All right. Again, I stole that from there because that was, again, not the best picture. So the next thing they're going to want us to do is be able to plot points in terms of a word problem, right? Be able to plot points in terms of a word problem. So this is the minimum wage history in Florida from 2005 to 2013. So they want us to take these ordered pairs and they want us to convert it to points along the axes. Well, I don't know if you noticed, they're actually missing the x-axis. So I'm going to fill in a couple of values. I'm going to call this 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's going to be my x. That's going to represent my year. And then again, I'm going to guesstimate these minimum wages, right? So at 05, my minimum wage was $2.15. At 06, my minimum wage is $6.40. In 07, my minimum wage was $6.67, so somewhere around there. All right, let's see. In 08, my minimum wage was almost $6.80, $6.79. In 09, it was $7.25. And again, I'm just guesstimating these. It doesn't have to be perfect. 010 was, again, $7.25. 11 was $7.31. In 2012, it was $7.67. And in 2013, it was almost $7.80. So again, all we're doing is plotting the points and putting them on there. Again, the first part of the point represents the year, and the second part is how much they made in dollars. So far we've plotted points, we've found points and found their values, and then they also want us to be able to do this in terms of a word problem. All right, so again, I had to take the data from the back and actually put it on the front. So we're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna want us to do a couple things. Number one, they want us to write these as points and then actually graph them. So very similar to what we did on the front. So this first point would be 1, 4.81. And the second point would be 2, 3.43. So they want us to take data and one more time put it on an axis to make sure that we know how to do this. So let's do it. So 1, 4.81. 1, 4.81 is going to be about right there. 2, 3.43, 2, 3.43, about right there. 3, 3.51. 4, 2.77. And again, I'm just guesstimating these. 5, 2.16. 6, a little bit less than 2. 7, less than 1 inch of rainfall. 8, a little bit more. 9, 1.52. And 10, 3.41. So again, all we're doing is taking data and putting it in our graph. Oh, my bad, I had some extra points up here. I forgot I connected those from the back. So I need to do 11, 5.84. That's gonna go way up here. And then the 12th month, December, was 5.43. So I was just taking data and put it in on my axes. And that's all they want you to be able to do in this. They want you to know the x-axis, they want you to know the y-axis, they want you to be able to plot points, they want you to be able to say what a point is. And if you can do all of that, this section should be pretty straightforward for you. It does get more complicated later in the chapter. We look at graphing lines, so we'll actually connect these dots, and then we'll look at different equations of lines. But in this first section, they just wanted you to be able to plot points. So I hope it worked out all well for you. Hope you can follow the video. And again, I hope everyone's having a great spring break or had a great spring break, and I'll see you when I return.